Ritchie, of course, was out yesterday. He is back. Good morning, John.
Hello, Joe.
Hello there, Johnny.
You cannot burp in space.
Wow, how about that?
Yeah, when you try to, it's kind of like a wet burp because the gas doesn't separate in your stomach.
How about it? You think that was the
Without
problem?
gravity,
Yeah, sure.
There's just a bunch of
Got a problem,
bubbles in your stomach that's intermingled with all the food and stuff. So if you try to burp, it's like a wet burp.
Well, that's no good. James, we ever find out what the medical problem was with that dude last week that brought the space shuttle back?
I don't know.
You don't even know about this?
No, I know. I don't.
Yeah.
I didn't see any
John,
updates or whatever.
Maybe he just didn't burp for a long time.
It was the first time ever.
Hurting.
First time ever in 60 or so years of space travel that they had to bring astronauts home for a medical reason.
Wow.
There's 4 people up there, and one of them had a problem, and they had to bring them on home.
Wow.
That is strange.
Honestly, it's surprising it hasn't happened.
I agree with you.
Does that speak to what does that speak to? Does that speak to
just coincidence? I think.
Yeah.
Right?
Probably.
Humans,
or you could say, hey, the humans are less tough than they once were.
Could be. All right, look, let's get to it here today at 215-592-9494. So like I said, it's all on the table, and good job by both the Sixers and Flyers last night. By the way, congrats to Tyrese Maxey, NBA All-Star. All-Star starter.
Deserves it.
All-Star starter. He does deserve it.
Great job,
And great
Tyrese.
game by him last night. In addition to all the normal points and assists, he also had 8 steals. 8 steals. That's like an
Iverson-esque.
Yeah, that's an Iverson kind of thing. So we'll get into the Maxey thing as we move through the show, but congrats to him. You can weigh in on all that. All right, let's start today with Hurts. So it's been close to a week and a half since the demise of the Eagles season. Disappointing, of course. We'll get John's thoughts as we move through the show on the playoff action from this past weekend with him, obviously not here yesterday. But let's start with Jaylen. And I'll say this, ladies and gentlemen, this is a get-it-on-the-record day. This is a get-it-on-the-record day. I think we've kind of moved now from post-mortem on season to off-season, in my opinion. You know, like we did the last week thing. We wrapped up the season. And now it's moving forward. So let's move forward and have everyone today, at least whoever wants to call in at 215-592-9494, get on the record on where you stand on Jalen Hurts. As he has completed 6 years of his pro football career to enter year 7, where do you stand on Jalen Hurts? 215-592-9494. John, the floor is yours. What do you got? Big picture, Jalen Hurts. Talk to us.
Jalen is a proven winner of the biggest game in the world. And he was the MVP of the biggest game in the world less than a year ago. I have watched him play his best in the biggest games.
Absolutely true. Absolutely.
And that does matter. I'm certain the right offensive coordinator can bring better out of Jalen Hurts by challenging him more, because I've seen it. I've seen it happen. I've seen it work before. Jalen is going to need to put his ego aside and allow whoever this new offensive coordinator is to work their craft. And just think back. Remember, once upon a time here in Philadelphia, Jalen was Mr. Intangible. Jalen he's got everything except the stuff you need to really play, like the physical stuff. He is everything you want from the neck up. Somehow that idea has faded as he has gotten paid. Lately, he's become Mr. Undervalued and Mr. Underappreciated. And I don't really understand exactly why that is. I think it's been it's been less than a year since he was the MVP of the Super Bowl, but I think he can be the ultimate weapon if he's taught and used properly by the offensive staff, by the play caller in particular. But he does have weaknesses. You know, he tucks the ball and he runs too early, and that happens frequently. He hesitates instead of ripping it across the middle of the field at times. Part of his obsession with not turning it over, I think, is that reluctance. You know, like he has been taught time and time again, hold on to that thing, protect yourself, don't turn the ball over. That's how we win. I think it's no wonder this guy's a little bit shell-shocked with letting the ball rip over the middle of the field. Again, something that is taught and instructed, and he can grow and become better at this. I know he's better than he was in 2022 and 2023 because, and this was a huge debate that we seem to forget about again, can Jaylen manipulate the pass protection without Jason Kelce calling the mic out, calling the protection before every play? Last year he did that and did it at such a degree, such a high level.
That hasn't been a problem. That hasn't been a problem at all.
The MVP of the Super Bowl doing that. So he can continue to grow, as we saw he grew as he included the pass protection in his realm of responsibilities. I think the 2025 season was a coaching failure. Jaylen can dominate. Jaylen can win Super Bowls. He can be the best of the best. We saw him outperform Pat Mahomes twice in the Super Bowl with the right teaching. 2025, he didn't get the right teaching. Kevin Patullo and Nick Sirianni did not accentuate Jaylen's positives, and they didn't minimize his negatives with the play design and the play calling, and things never got better as the season progressed. And that's unbelievable to me. And that is, once again, that is coaching. Jaylen has absolutely evolved as we've watched, and he can continue to evolve. And I expect that. I expect that they'll do a great job at selecting this offensive coordinator because they know that this quarterback, who's 27, will be 28 this season. His future depends on it.
So, look, that's a very comprehensive answer from John, and you can weigh in as well, 215-592-9494. I mean, there's a lot in there. So, again, we ask you today, it's a get on the record day. Where do you stand on Jaylen? Here's where I net out at this point of his career. And I'm really going to break this down in four ways and try to keep it as simple as possible because we could all talk for 10 straight hours on this, but I'm going to try to keep it simple. Four things, here we go. Number one, I thought his 2025 season was very disappointing. I would actually, given his contract and the responsibility placed on him as such, I would actually refer to it as lousy. It wasn't like the lousy 30th best quarterback in football. I'm not saying that. But given what he's supposed to be and how you pay him, it was a lousy season. Just not turning it over is not, to me, good enough to be good enough. You got to do more than that. So number one, I say really bad 2025, all things considered. My second point is 2026 strikes me as a make or break year for Jaylen with the Eagles. I think it's quite simple. If he plays well, or what I'll call well enough, I think he'll stay. And if he doesn't, I think he won't be the quarterback in 2027. Got to play it out.
Pushing it back.
Yeah, just 1 year. That's right. Just pushing it back 1 year. That's exactly right.
Well, it was 2025 and then 2026.
No, it was 2026. I never said 2025. I said 2026. So just pushing it back a year. So, yeah, I think it's a make or break year for him in that regard. The third thing I'll say is there's three main things he needs to do better. The first is the passing game. It's stuff John talked about. Pocket presence, not escaping unnecessarily. Step up. I've said this before. Don't step out, step up. Don't step out, step up. So he's got to get better at that, the reading defenses thing and the timing thing. I mean, the whole passing thing to me is by far the most important thing. Second is willingness to run. Willingness to run. And third is the connecting with teammates thing, which we continue to hear is an issue. I mean, a pretty big issue from what I understand. So to me, those three things are and we could break it down a million ways, but those are the three biggies, I think, that he's got to get better on to be the long-term quarterback for the Eagles moving forward. I hope he does. We'll see. My fourth and final point I'll say is this. If I'm Lurie and I'm Howie, I got a three-pronged strategy for the future of the Eagles at quarterback. Three doors. Door one is Jaylen. And that's the door I hope works out because it's the easiest. I already got him, and he's, like John said, he's had success, and you want it to work out. And to my last point, you want him to play better, so he's the guy for a long time. Door number one is Jaylen. Door number two is Tanner McKay. I'm not trading him in the offseason. I mean, if you got some unbelievable offer, I guess I consider it, but I don't think you're going to get some unbelievable offer. I want to tuck Tanner McKee in my back pocket, let Jaylen play 2026, see how it goes. No, I've got McKee as an option if I need him. That's door number two. Door number three is I've got 2 off seasons to acquire a quarterback in the draft. I got the 2026 draft coming up in 3 months. I don't think it's going to be a first-round quarterback, but they could select a quarterback somewhere along the line. I got the 2027 draft class, in 15 months to draft a quarterback if I feel I need to. That's my strategy. Three-pronged strategy for the future. And you hope, of course, that it works out with Jaylen, that he rebounds, doesn't play lousy, gets back to the point when he was at his... John was right. He was at his best individual games in the 2 championship games, 22 and 24, but he was clearly at his best for a season, without a doubt, in 2022. Jaylen's 2022 season was by far his best season. He was dynamic. I look back at my notes recently. I had Jaylen... After that, maybe it was either during or after that season, I had Jaylen ranked as the second best player in Philadelphia sports. Like, for everyone that thinks that I'm just like this big Jaylen hater, I mean, there was a time not too long ago, just 3 seasons ago, where I said he was the second best player in Philly sports. You know why? Because he was better then. So it's time for him to pick it back up. And to that point, that's where I say 2026 is critical, man. That's where I stand. You heard where John stands. We'll get to James and Rhea where they stand. You can weigh in as well. 215-592-9494. It's a get-on-the-record day. Where do you stand on Jalen Hurts as the offseason and gets going here, and they've got decisions for the future to make?